So I'm here to present, kind of around our work from home, how we enable it, and just, we recognize that moving into this post-pandemic world, we're now coming to it's the biggest transformation, not just from an economic scale, but just from just a social scale. You have to think about, how did the pandemic really change the way that we work and interact with one another on a daily basis, whether it's our colleagues, whether it's our customers, whether, whoever it may be. Things have changed for, going forward. I don't see it ever going to go back to the way it was pre-COVID. I mean, while I've worked as Microsoft, as Ron's mentioned, I'm based in the New Orleans area. We don't have a Microsoft office here, so I've kind of been a remote worker for the past 4 years that I've been with the company. That's not the majority of people. And so how do you enable sort of that environment that allows people to be connected, that allows them to stay productive, and enable them with the tools to do that? This quote from our CEO is, the next decade of economic performance will be defined on how they digitally transform. And of course, the COVID-19 pandemic has, if they haven't started already, the pandemic has forced their hand at this point. And so, our whole strategy around just hybrid work from home, and collaboration and connectivity is Teams. It helps you get work done, helps you stay connected, whether that's voice or video chat or meetings, whether that's collaboration around small teams or even larger teams. I have groups and teams within the platform that are hundreds, thousands of members, and they're great communities to share ideas. I have a question, I have a worldwide community of my peers that I can go and post a question, and I see them, day in and day out, and I'm trying to check to say, hey, do I have the experience to help out one of my peers solve a problem for their customers, or answer a question that one of their customers has? And it just simplifies work, because you're not having to go to a bunch of different areas, applications. Teams is not an application, it's a platform. It brings together meetings, small team collaboration, productivity tools, so that you have one place to kind of do it all and be more productive in this new work environment that we're all experiencing today. And I think this goes without saying, more online meetings than ever. I mean, we're doing all these webinars, and before the pandemic, I was speaking at the Angelbeat conferences in Baton Rouge, New Orleans. I know that Ron was holding these types of discussions, in person all over the place, but, all of these things, how productive can they be? We've got about 60%, and this is from kind of some own internal polling we've done and working with some of our partners. People feel less connected. I think that's to be expected. I think it's to be expected that when you're talking to a computer screen, and I can see my camera on this screen over here, and I can see all the people over here, you don't feel that connectivity. You don't feel connected to it. And so, how are we going to make sure that, distractions aren't getting in the way, making sure that, if there's a follow-up after the meeting, how does that happen? And how do we not just take it as, okay, we're holding a meeting via Teams? How do we take it from there? How do we enable productivity and collaborations even after the meeting in an inclusive way? We're all about making sure we're being inclusive. Everyone has a voice. Everyone has a place on the team. And Teams is the platform to help make that happen. And so, kind of build this slide up. Obviously, Teams one-on-one calling. You've got now online webinars, which Ron mentioned. I'm working with him on, hopefully, to get this moved to a Teams webinar soon. Those are one of the features we had to quickly roll out that wasn't there pre-pandemic, or it was there, it just wasn't kind of fleshed out. Group meetings, obviously, small teams. You have a project team you need to meet with on a regular basis or an ad hoc basis. You can either schedule it, you can just hit meet now. All of those things are there to bring your team together and have those right conversations that you need, and use that window or use that same channel to follow up. I can start a meeting in a channel, write something in there to follow up afterwards, and say, hey, this is, these are the actions we agreed on, and then it's right there for everyone to see, and everyone can go ahead and say, yes, I've done this, or here's the status of this, and it's all kept in history. A new person gets added to that team, then we can simply bring them in. They can see all the history, and it's very easy to onboard and ramp up to whatever project they're being brought into. Events, again, webinars, live streams. We pre-pandemic and even into the beginning of the pandemic, a lot of customers were using Teams for live stream events. I know we use it exclusively at Microsoft, but you have, say, CEOs want to address their teams, and obviously it's more of a forum like this where it's not necessarily interaction, it's more presentations and having your leadership say, here's the state of the business. Teams is the platform for that. And again, it's all in one place. You don't have to, I'm not knocking GoTo, I'm not knocking that, but obviously I've had to go to GoToWebinar to open this. I have to go to Teams to do my meeting before this, and it's, you jump from place to the other. Teams gives you that one platform to bring it all together when it comes to staying connected, whether it's one-on-one group or on a large scale. Online meetings, though, while they're great to help us stay connected, help us move things forward when it comes to a project, action items, it's not just the meetings that give us the productivity or enable us to be productive in this new hybrid work environment. Moving back, some offices are reopening. I know our office is reopening. How are we going to connect with those people? Oops, sorry, hit the wrong button. How are we going to connect with those people that are back in the office? How do we connect with our customers that are in other offices, or that those customers who are still working from home and their offices haven't opened up? We have ways to extend messaging, file sharing, tasks, all of the, a bunch of different applications. Of course, our office apps, not only internally but externally. I've shared just in the past week, I think with 3 or 4 customers, I've gone in and shared either it's a channel, file, something else that enables them, instead of getting a 30 meg presentation or file, just drop it into this Teams files channel, this Teams channel, and it's there. And it's, I get a notification, everyone else gets a notification when it's dropped in. They don't have to worry about emailing anyone else. They drop it in and they know that we've gotten it. And we can then take the next step from there, whatever that step is. And so it kind of enables not just the meeting space, but it enables the productivity around those meetings that continue to progress in whatever projects or whatever needs you have. Work, obviously, it's not just the meeting, happens outside the meeting. And so how do we do more to moving from just online meetings and staying connected when we move to a hybrid environment where some people in person, some people are remote? What does that look like moving forward? And a lot of it is around digital teamwork. Are you set up for digital teamwork where you have people, not just people working from home, but people at the office, people from home, customers at their offices, customers at home? All of that's digital now. And, gone are the days where I'm emailing files, documents back and forth. Email is still a great, still probably the go-to tool for communication back and forth. But a lot of times it's simpler and quicker to get a response with a, hey, I just need to know this answer on this, hit enter, and you can wait and you'll see it when it comes in, just like you see an email. So, how are you keeping these people together and helping them collaborate when they're apart? We've got a lot, the majority of managers, and to Ron's poll he put up a second ago, are you going to allow your employees to have a flexible work from home? I feel very fortunate that I'm, again, a remote employee, have to travel to visit customers, which is fine and expected, but my wife, who works here in town, she's going to have a more flexible kind of a day or two from home if necessary. And especially for us, circumstances being different, we have 2 younger kids. Kids have to stay home from school because they're sick, or they got a day off from school because of some in-person parent-teacher. That flexibility, it actually helps improve employee morale and enables a better work-life balance, because now we're not thinking, okay, and stressing about who are we going to get to watch the kids. I don't have parents, neither of our parents are in town, so can we get a babysitter, things like that. But while we're home, how do we have the tools and the capabilities to stay connected, stay organized when it comes to being efficient, when it comes to being productive, and when it comes to being an effective communicator with our teams? So Teams provides that, okay, I can collaborate seamlessly from anywhere. I can organize my team around, we call them teams, but underneath that we even have channels, and you can have smaller groups in private channels, and you have ways that you can manage plans and tasks and the access to files, the access to chat history at the team level or below that, so that if you're, have a subset of your team that only needs a need to know, or they are working on this specific thing and the rest of the team doesn't need to be bothered with information on that. You have the way to do that so that the right people are getting access to the right information at the right times. You can create content. Again, all of the apps that are integrated. We've got obviously our Office apps, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, integrated with the Teams platform, so you can do co-authoring, co-editing at the same time in the same window. And I can even go in and see, okay, this cell in Excel is being filled in by this person. Wait, I don't like, what's that mean? And I can go on the Teams chat and say, hey, what did you mean when you put this in here? And it's real time. Just like if we were all sitting around in a conference room and they had it up displayed on a screen or a board or a projector or something like that, and they were doing it, same thing can do. Now we're just doing virtually around the Teams platform. And obviously staying in sync. When something's updated, like I mentioned before, if someone drops a file in there, I know about it. There's a notification that goes to the team. Something gets posted to the team channel so that I'm not waiting for someone to say, put something in there and then, oh yeah, I forgot to send that email letting the team know that it's in there. I know right away. And so you stay in sync and you can move things forward in a much more productive and quicker pace than you ever did before. You know, one of the other things that we recognize too is that our workforce more than ever is, you know, the 80% of the workforce is frontline, right? Think about that. You've got your grocery store employees, you've got healthcare workers. I mean, most of the frontline, first responders, you know, field workers, people who are out there, you know, whether they're doing repairs or if they're in the energy industry, they're out there on platforms. How do we enable them, right? A lot of them didn't stay home and weren't able to work from home because their job depended on them being in the office. So how do you leverage Teams for them and give them the tools they need to stay connected when sometimes they can feel a little isolated even though they're not working from home? They're actually interacting with other people, but it's the interactions are much different than they were before. So you know, we've kind of grown the Teams platform with that in mind, but still, you know, one of our studies that we commissioned through Forrester says 25% of the frontline workers today, they don't have the right tools to do their jobs, right? Whether or not they're technical, you know, technology related, whether or not they're related to a specific industry that they work in, they just don't have it. So how can we, as you know, thinking through this as Microsoft, how do we enable Teams as built as the, you know, the collaborative, productive platform that it is, provide them with the tools and them with the capabilities that they need to do their jobs, do it efficiently, and do it safely. You know, think healthcare workers. How do we make sure that they're staying safe as patients, regardless of what they're in for, what they're in the hospital for, they're in getting treatment for, move between different units, whether they're coming from surgery and moving to recovery. And, you know, not only does that provide better patient care, it also provides better visibility for family members too. There's a lot of things that we're working with. I actually have a healthcare provider trying to figure out some of these teams use cases today and how they can be used for cross-team coordination for patient care. You know, so one of the things, if you remember the old walkie-talkie or push-to-talk, you know, we've integrated that into Teams. And so now if I need to get a hold of one person, I can push it and it'll ring directly to their phone through the Teams app, just like the old, you know, I forgot the name of the company. For some reason it's escaping me, but it gives you the ability to do kind of that walkie-talkie capability right within the Teams app. Shifts. A lot of frontline workers are shift-based. They have to work, you know, a given time, whether it's, you know, first, second, third, or some different shifts if they're healthcare and they're, you know, 6 a.m. to 3 or something like that where they're in. You have the ability to manage shifts and even do time recording all within the Teams platform. It's built-in first party that you can use either just to manage it, or you can integrate it on the back end to pass that information to some other HR tool if you wanted to. You have the ability to do that. Things about requesting time off for those frontline workers and making sure you have coverage, all can be managed through this one platform. Tasks. You know, sometimes you got come in the morning and some of those frontline workers, they've got a set list of tasks that they have to do each day, and that never changes. And they're always in there. They're always working with the same set of things they got to do. I had a wholesale distribution company where they had the same set of safety steps that they had to do every time that they came into the warehouse first thing in the morning. And so you have the way to set those tasks up where, oh, yep, it's going to ring me on Teams, or it's going to give me that alert. And so many people, they see that badge, that red badge or whatever it is on your phone that says you got something unread on that app. A lot of people, it's amazing what an impetus that is for people to check and clear that out so they don't have it sitting there. I admittedly not as good at that as I should be, but it draws their attention, and then they see it and they go, oh yeah, I got to go through my tasks this morning. And then they can go through and go through the task list, whether it's a planner or just tasks integrated with Teams, and actually sit there, and you get a record of that every single day or whatever frequency it is, so you can go back and look and say, well, an incident happened. Did they go through their daily tasks to make sure that the whatever it was taken care of in the opening of the warehouse so that it was safe? Engaging your community. Again, this comes back to how do I get information out to the broader audience? A lot of times frontline workers, they're not in offices. They don't get a chance to understand what's happening from a business perspective. So we integrate things like Yammer, and I'll talk a little bit coming up with Microsoft Viva here soon. But how do you engage those frontline workers to make sure they're invested in the business? Connect them so you can embed things like the live stream events when you're talking about a company-wide presentation, so that frontline workers can join directly from their phone via Teams, whether it's through the Yammer integration with it or it's directly in a live stream itself. Again, one-on-one chat. I need to get, I'm a manager in the back room and I got someone else up front and I need to get them really quick. Well, I don't have to go looking for them in the store. I can just send them a quick note and it'll ring on Teams and they can come up. If I don't feel like calling them or it wasn't anything important, I just need them to respond. It's a way to keep frontline workers engaged too. It's recognizing that you have more than just the community that's in the office. You've got that frontline community that needs to stay engaged, because once they're engaged, they're going to be happier and they'll be more productive, which ultimately is going to affect the success of your organization. Now, resilience obviously means a lot of things to a lot of different people, but when we talk about a resilient workforce, it's how are people going to react and adopt to the changes that the pandemic have brought about. Every customer is doing something different, whether they're going completely back to in-person, whether they never left in-person, like in a healthcare scenario, a first responder. What is going to be sustainable for them moving into this hybrid work environment moving forward? As we you see a lot of these restrictions easing up. You see a lot of the cases and things going down. I know there's some variants and things that might change that, but for the most part, restrictions are being eased or relaxed across the country and in some cases across the world. So how are we building a workforce that's resilient enough to come back to some of the things that they were doing before and still do them at the productivity level and feel as connected as they did prior to and during, if it was a positive, or improve on that if it was a negative while they were doing a work from home or work remote. And so there's 6 key elements to all that we're building into our employee experience platform, which I'll introduce. We've introduced as Viva, and I'll get to it in a second. But it's focusing on the employee well-being. Everyone talks about work-life balance. I know I struggled with it during the pandemic, having to do homeschooling, having to do work at the same time. Sharing, all of a sudden sharing an office with my spouse, being home, or whether it was the kitchen or the spare bedroom, whatever that might be. Focusing on the employees' well-being, because if you're not focusing on that, the employees are not going to be bought in, and all of a sudden you're going to see that productivity drop, and the efficiencies and the things that you gain as an organization are going to go away. You need to feel the connection. Your employees, your managers, whoever it is, needs to feel connected to the missions of your organizations. What are you trying to do? And helping to make sure they connect and feel like they're part of something moving forward. How do you enable that? Focusing on what's important, right? Prioritizing, okay, for this week or this day, I need to prioritize and focus on this. How do you provide that focus, that level of detail that any worker or manager within an organization needs to make sure that they're doing the things that are necessary within their environments to help make themselves successful and make the organization overall a success. Empowering them to do the right things, giving them the freedom, and giving them, it kind of goes back to connectivity, that they are empowered to make decisions that are required to be successful, and giving them that freedom to do that. I mean, this to me is a personal thing. I've always looked for growth in my career. How are we supporting the growth of those employees across our organizations, across, between organizations, right? Within industries, right? We all have personal and we also have organizational strengths and skills and things that we need to broaden across our communities and broaden within our organizations that help us progress towards that mission, towards that focus, that connection. These kind of things that you see, kind of as a theme, they all go hand in hand with one another. And the last one is purpose. Obviously, we come to work, hopefully we'll all have a purpose in what's going on and what we're doing day to day. I mean, for me, I'm trying to make my customers successful. I want to make sure that they're leveraging the investment that they have in the Microsoft tools that they've got today, helping them enable them to achieve more with the tools that they have today, or by enabling them with other tools. And so, helping them digitally transform. And so that's my purpose, and everyone has that purpose. So what is, what's giving them what's the platform and what's the tool that's going to give employees, managers a sense of purpose, in the sense that they have the ability to help achieve that purpose in their day-to-day activities. And so, these are all the things, talked about the 6 key elements of an employee experience platform that we've kind of built our Viva experience on. These are the kind of the tools, or I would say the drivers and the enablers of that. So growth and development, communications, obviously, being able to communicate across your organization. Growth and development, well-being, communities, knowledge, insights, company resources. These are all things that go back and bolster and support those 6 pillars, 6 ideas, 6 whatever whatever you want to refer to them as, of the employee experience. And I'll kind of get into these each with some of the Microsoft Viva topics here on the next couple slides. And so, what is Microsoft Viva? We built Viva with the thought behind, we know we have a great platform with Teams. How do we even enhance it further to empower employees, empower teams to do their best to be productive from anywhere? It's not just a matter of giving them a way to do group chat. It's not just a matter of giving them a way to have video calls. It's not just a matter of a way to have file storage, right? Those are all great things, and they're enablers, but it goes back to the employee experience. How do they feel connected individually as a team? How is their well-being? What is their knowledge and expertise? Are we giving them tools to learn and grow and build on their skilling? Well, one of the things we have in Microsoft is a huge initiative around customer skilling, because obviously from us, if you can't, we're enabling you to use the tools by learning how best to use them and apply them into your organization. So these are all of the things that have been kind of put together when it comes to Viva within Teams, and its connections, insights, topics, and learning. And so, it's going to support all of these things are already built with the underlying Office 365 services that are there today, and LinkedIn services when it comes to learning. And they're surfaced through these apps within Microsoft Teams. And it builds the foundation and the innovation for new services and new insights, people development, success within your organization. So just really quick on the 4 connections. It's your company branded employee app. It's how you get information out to your employees, how you communicate best with them. I click on it, it's our SharePoint, it's our intranet site. I can see some of the topics, some of the things that are going on. I can go into it and search for company related information, find other things within our organization that I need to. It's your way to allow your employees the ability to hit a landing page, hit your intranet, and then take it from there and where they want to go and what they want to find, but also bring people into a central spot for clean and consistent communication throughout your company, throughout your organization. Insights is productivity and well-being. I love it. I know we've rolled out, hopefully, I don't know if some of you on Office 365 may be getting the emails from Cortana every morning. I love it because it actually reminds me, hey, I didn't go to this, I said I was going to follow up with this person 2 days ago and I didn't, but so sometimes the AI, people get a little scared of it, not scared of it, but a little leery of it. Is it too intrusive? But to that, for me, that helps me stay connected. It helps me stay productive because now I'm going back and actually, I forgot about that. Even though I should have written it down, I'm having another reminder, and then I go, okay, I need to get back to this customer on whatever topic that was. Well, Insights is kind of taking that forward and putting it into Teams, where it's not just pulling it from email, it's pulling it from other places. Hey, have you connected with this person? You haven't talked to them in a while. Hey, you said you were going to do this. You had this task coming up, and it withdrew on, this meeting that had this attachment into it. And it helps you to be productive, which honestly helps you get things done faster and leaves more for kind of your well-being, work-life balance. It frees up some other time to either tackle other work-related projects or take care of other things if you have personal things to take care of. So it goes kind of hand in hand with work-life balance there too. Topics, it's kind of expertise. It uses AI to create topic pages and kind of a Wikipedia for enterprises. And all of these topic pages, you can they flow in from Office, they flow in from Teams, and you can curate it how best you want. Again, it's to the things that are going to enable you to do your job, do your work within your organization to the best of your ability, and to be as productive as you can be. And then the learning kind of is the flip side of that is, hey, here are some things. It's built off of LinkedIn Learning and some other resources that, hey, you're a frontline healthcare worker. Go learn how some of these other frontline workers are doing it here, or what they've come up with in some tool that they built or process that they built. And it kind of curates that into a learning portal that's surfaced within Teams through the Learning app, and allows you to kind of, instead of having to go search throughout the internet to find these things and take more time, it brings that and surfaces that content for you to consume all within one platform. And what makes Viva unique, and there's a few, there's 5 things I'll go through right now, is that it provides an organizational layer. Again, it integrates a whole bunch of systems through Office 365, LinkedIn Learning, and some other systems that provide a single employee experience in one platform that does not require the employee to go out to a bunch of different sites or a bunch of different platforms to find what they're looking for. It enables them to be more productive by giving more time back to do the really important things instead of having to search for other things that they need to go do. It puts people at the center. And what I mean by that is it's customized and curated for the employee, for the manager, whoever it is that's using the Viva platform, and even the Teams platform in general. It builds off of the work that you do because it has the sense of, okay, what is your role and your interactions and who you collaborate with, who you connect with, what meetings you're on, what content you look at, and it curates that for you. And it's really built in the experience. And there's ways that you can give feedback into that experience that says, no, this necessarily isn't right for me, don't show it to me anymore. And it builds and it learns on that. And so it makes it even better for you the next time it brings up suggestions on topics and learning and other things that really are going to benefit the employee at the center of the experience. It provides powerful insights. Again, it's actionable. I said I was going to follow up with this person 2 days ago. It reminded me I still haven't done that. I need to go do it. That's an actionable thing. It's not a, hey, what were the next steps on those other things? It's actually building off of the text and things from emails and tasks saying, hey, you didn't get this one thing done that you said you were going to do, go do it. And it helps you to stay on tasks, provide the insights you need to do your job better. And it's all based within the Microsoft Graph, which is able to pull this data from, again, email, from Teams chats, from meetings and other things, because it's all an integrated system behind the scenes being pulled together with Graph. Privacy and security. I can't say this enough. One of the pillars that we have at Microsoft is, we run on trust. We as Microsoft won't be able to do anything if you can't trust the platform and trust the privacy and the security of the data that's there. Obviously, it's your data. We are not going to do anything with it. It's up to you how you want to manage that data, but we're going to secure it for you, and we are going to respect the privacy of that data and make sure that only your personal data can be viewed by you. Manager doesn't get access to your data. No one else gets access to your data unless you want to share it. You have the ability to do that if you see this topic came up within a learning card or whatever, or something in the insights. that is really, oh, hey, that action goes to this other person now, not me. That can be shared, but it's up to you to share it. It's private, it's secure, it's to the individual, so that you are in control of what happens with that data. Not your manager, not your peers, not Microsoft. You are in control of it. And finally, it's an open platform. There's a lot of customizations into it. Again, I keep saying, coming back to this platform. Teams is a platform that allows you to bring in all of these other tools, all of these other apps, first-party Microsoft, third-party apps that are built on top of Teams to help you be productive in whatever your industry, whatever your experience is, and help you be efficient, help you get your job done ultimately, help you stay connected, help you feel empowered. And that's, again, going back to those 6 pillars of what an employee experience is giving you the ability to customize the platform, customize the ecosystem, so that you have the tools, you have the data necessary in a single place to get your job done for you and for your organization.
Hey, Jeremy?
Yes, Ron?
One question that Scott from the University of Alabama in Birmingham mentioned to me was, what about sensitive data, be it HIPAA information, Social Security, credit card information? Is there some way to ensure, and maybe this is your next slide here, either within Microsoft, within third party, that doesn't get publicly available on files or is somehow protected?
That's a great segue into this, and to get to that, I'll jump to the very last part of this, is that our platform, all of our platforms, whether it's Microsoft 365, our Biz Apps, which is the Dynamics and Power Platform, or Azure, supports 90 plus regulations and compliances globally. HIPAA, high tech, when it comes to healthcare, PII, GDPR, I'm trying to IRS 1075. All of those compliances, and I would point to our Services Trust portal, where we have all of these documents and all of these certifications published. That compliancy, that security is built as a framework around all of these applications and all of these solutions that build and provide the capabilities within the platform, the Teams platform, Viva, as well as all of our other services, right? Whether it's Dynamics, Azure, what have you. So if you have Social Security numbers that are in there, you can trust that our platform is compliant to hold that data, and that we will not release that data without your consent, or give you the ability that you should say, okay, who does this data go to? Like if it's something with patient records, right? Patient records have a medical record number or something else in it. Well, sometimes that data needs to be shared between a generalist and a specialist. They may not be in the same health system. How do I securely share that data out so that I'm being compliant with HIPAA and high tech? And so we have the tools that provide the encryption, the sharing, and the revocation in some cases, or the expiration of the sharing, that allow that to safely occur, whether it's Teams, SharePoint, Exchange, whatever that may be. Data loss prevention, information protection and data labeling, all of those things are consistent throughout the platforms and throughout our services that support making sure that that data is not being fed, or I don't want to say it's some people, most of the time, it's just done without even knowledge of it. It's not a bad actor came in and got this. Some people just didn't realize someone's there. It's the accidental release or sending of that data. We have those tools in place to prevent that, and to alert someone to say, hey, go talk to this person. Did they know that they sent this out? And this is the secure way that they should have done it. In my experience working, you need to give the controls. If you make it so stringent that you can't do anything, someone's going to find a way around it. I still, to this day, one of the best ones I ever heard was, I was working with a state government. I won't say which one. It wasn't Louisiana, but I won't say which one. That they were working on moving their data to Office 365. And it was a whole thing around DLP and IRS 1075 and HIPAA and high tech, because you're dealing with when you're talking about state entities, a lot of compliances come into place. Well, it's one thing in case someone came up and said, well, I can still just go ahead and put a document as an attachment as an email and draft, and go just leave it there. I can go home to my personal computer because I have access to Outlook via web, go to my drafts folder and pull that attachment down and do it on my personal machine what I want with it if I have no other way to do it. And I said, I've never heard of that, but that would set off no audit log, no nothing, depending on where the data is coming from. But there are tools that we have when it comes to data tagging, data encryption, authorization and access through Azure AD and identity management. All of those things are built into the platform. I feel like I just went off on a tangent for a while and probably need to step back, but to the point, security and trust is at the center of everything.